David Patterson taught beginner ballroom dance classes, while an elite troupe mocked him relentlessly. Fat, washed up, embarrassing. When their star's ankle shattered minutes before the championship finale, organizers made a desperate plea for an experienced partner. David walked down the aisle toward the stage, and the head judge's face went completely white. David Patterson moved across the floor of the Riverside Community Center with unexpected grace. At 42 years old and significantly overweight, he didn't look like someone who could glide through a waltz. But he did. Every Monday and Wednesday evening, he taught beginner ballroom dance classes with endless patience. His teaching style was gentle and encouraging. When someone stumbled, David would smile and remind them that everyone started somewhere. He never gave up on anyone. His students loved him for it. But every Tuesday and Thursday evening, the atmosphere shifted completely. An elite competitive dance troupe arrived for their practice sessions. They were young, athletic, and hungry for success, and they treated David like he was invisible, or worse. As David packed up his belongings, the troupe would gather near the doorway. Their conversations were loud enough for him to hear. Fat, washed up, embarrassing. The words cut deeper each time. Their leader was Vanessa. She was 24, technically brilliant, and she took particular pleasure in mocking David's appearance. Sometimes she would mimic his walk with exaggerated movements. Her teammates would dissolve into laughter. David never confronted them. He would pause for just a moment, his hands stilling on his dance bag. Then he would continue packing in silence. But his hands trembled slightly as he zipped his shoes away. Week after week, the pattern repeated itself. The whispers, the laughter, the cruel mimicry. David endured it all. One evening, one of his students asked him why he didn't report the troupe to management. David looked at her with tired eyes. He told her that some battles weren't worth fighting, but the truth was simpler and more painful. Deep down, David believed they might be right about him. He saw someone who didn't belong in the world of dance anymore. 3 months passed this way, 3 months of classes, 3 months of mockery. The weight of it grew heavier with each passing week. Then the community center announced the Regional Ballroom Championship. It was the biggest event of the year. Vanessa and her troupe had been training specifically for this event. She would be performing the showcase finale with her partner Ryan. They had chosen the Viennese waltz, one of the most demanding styles. 3 years of preparation had led to this moment. David bought a ticket. He told himself he was going because he loved dance. But part of him knew he was there to torture himself, to watch what he could no longer be. The night arrived. The community center transformed into something magical. David sat in the back row, hidden in shadows, invisible once again. The evening progressed smoothly. Then, 20 minutes before the finale, disaster struck. Ryan was warming up backstage, practicing a lift, but something went wrong. His foot landed at the wrong angle. There was a sharp cry. He collapsed, clutching his ankle. Medical staff rushed in. The verdict was immediate. The ankle was badly injured. He couldn't dance. Vanessa stood frozen in her costume, her face drained of color. Without a partner, 3 years of training would mean nothing. The organizers made an emergency announcement. They needed an experienced male ballroom dancer who could perform an advanced Viennese waltz, someone who could step in and save the finale. The request hung in the air like an impossible wish. The audience murmured nervously. No one moved. David felt his heart begin to hammer. A war erupted inside him. One voice reminded him of who he once was. The other voice echoed Vanessa's cruel words. Fat, washed up, embarrassing. Every instinct told him to stay hidden, to avoid the humiliation, to protect himself from more pain. But then another voice emerged, a memory from 15 years ago, his wife's voice, telling him something he had forgotten. Dance isn't about the body you have, it's about the music you carry inside. David stood up. His legs felt weak. His entire body trembled. Every eye turned toward him as he walked down the aisle. He could see the confusion, the skepticism, the doubt on their faces. Vanessa watched him approach. Her expression shifted from hope to visible disappointment when she recognized him. She actually stepped back. Her eyes betrayed her thoughts. David reached the stage and offered his hand, a simple gesture that took all his courage. She hesitated. She looked toward the judges, silently pleading for another option. Any other option? There wasn't one. She took his hand with obvious reluctance. Her touch was cold and distant. The head judge suddenly stood up. Her face had gone pale. She whispered something urgently to the person beside her. The whisper spread through the judge's table like wildfire. One judge pulled out his phone, frantically searching something. But what could they possibly be looking for? But the music was already beginning. The opening notes filled the space. David closed his eyes for just a moment. He let the music wash over him. Then he moved. What happened next would be talked about for years. Despite his size, David didn't just dance. He floated. Every step was mathematically precise. Every turn executed with technical perfection that seemed impossible. His footwork was flawless. He led Vanessa through sequences she had never imagined she could perform. His strength and control allowed her to achieve movements beyond her normal capability. He anticipated her every need. He made her better than she had ever been. The audience's reaction started as confused silence. Then gasps rippled through the crowd. Then people began jumping to their feet, screaming, applauding. Some were crying, because they weren't just watching a dance. They were watching something magical unfold. They were watching a master artist prove that bodies change, but artistry lives forever. Vanessa felt it too. Halfway through, her face transformed. The dismissive contempt vanished. Genuine awe replaced forced professionalism. She was dancing at a level she had never reached before, and she knew exactly why. When the final note faded, the standing ovation was deafening. It went on and on. The head judge stood with tears streaming down her face. She took the microphone with shaking hands and made an announcement that stunned the crowd into complete silence. David Patterson wasn't just a beginner dance teacher. His real name was David Chen. He was a 3-time world champion who had vanished from competitive dance 15 years ago after his wife and dance partner died in a car accident. He was a legend, a ghost story that older dancers whispered about. They had all just witnessed why he had once been considered the greatest ballroom dancer of his generation. Vanessa stood trembling, her trophy in hand. They had won by an unprecedented margin, but she couldn't stop crying. Not from victory, from crushing, overwhelming shame. She had mocked a legend. She had ridiculed greatness itself. She turned to David, trying to apologize, but he was already walking toward the exit, already disappearing back into the shadows. She caught up with him in the parking lot. Her voice broke as she tried to find words. David gently interrupted her. He told her that she was extraordinarily talented, but greatness required more than technical skill. It required character, empathy, and the wisdom to see beyond surfaces. He hoped she would learn these things, because without them, all her talent would ultimately mean nothing. David returned to teaching his beginner classes the following week. Word had spread like wildfire, and suddenly his classes were overflowing. The elite troupe asked if they could train under him. He agreed, but on one condition. They would spend 2 hours each week volunteering to teach dance at the local senior center. Vanessa became his most dedicated student. She never forgot the night she learned that the person she had mocked was greater than she could ever imagine becoming. That night changed everything she thought she knew about worth and talent and respect. And you? Have you ever underestimated someone based on their appearance, only to discover how wrong you were?